Good evening, everybody. I'll just share my slide deck. Great. So we'll start by looking at the journey of any SOC, which started with point solutions like antiviruses, IDS, IPS, and then slowly moved to centralized monitoring, SIEM. SIEM and real-time monitoring is where most SOCs are today. However, the reality of today's cyber attacks is that the techniques, tools, and procedures used by adversaries change so rapidly that it is difficult for the SOCs to keep up and reiterate the use cases, which is where most of the traditional solutions are slow to adapt. The SOC today has to be more agile and move towards a hunt model, which is what you see on your screens, right? To move from a developing SOC to an advanced SOC, organizations need to add hunt teams to their existing real-time monitoring capabilities. Now, hunting coupled with security orchestration, automated response, EDR technologies helps SOC become more predictive and risk-driven. Advanced threats, however, would still require human investigation and a risk assessment approach, making it imperative that organizations strike a balance between automation and staffing that will help improve the efficacy and the efficiency of a SOC. We see that the first and foremost expectation from an advanced SOC is orchestration and automated response, which would get inputs from analytics, machine learning, predictive models, and threat intelligence. Right? How does threat intelligence help? If we map threat intelligence to the NIST cybersecurity framework, we will see that awareness of threats, related IOCs, IOAs can help us identify the attack faster and understand and implement the recovery plan with improved efficiencies. Threat intel can also guide the incident responders to hunt for unknowns, improve the speed of detection, and the speed with which the attack can be contained and suppressed. Intelligent SOC provides contextual intelligence at every stage to ensure appropriate decisions, easy and faster identifications of IOCs and IOAs, and move towards a proactive SOC. Collection of data from multiple sources is imperative to ensure success of a threat intelligence program. If we look at types of threat intelligence, there is strategic threat intelligence, tactical threat intelligence, operational threat intelligence, and technical threat intelligence. Strategic threat intelligence provides high-level information regarding security posture and exposure impacts to the business, etc. Right? Identifying internet exposure footprint of an organization can constitute as a strategic threat intelligence. So, for example, if I want to understand how many of my applications are exposed to the internet, um, uh, we've seen cases where development of a web application is outsourced to a third party. The developers over there spawn off an instance on a cloud portal and pump the data over there, start coding over there. The whole code is left open, and ultimately the reputation of the organization is what gets damaged, right? So identifying the exposure of a exposure footprint of an organization is what constitutes as part of strategic TI. Tactical TI provides information related to TTPs used by threat actors. This contains technical information like campaign details, tools and techniques used by attackers, malwares that are used. It is majorly consumed by cybersecurity professionals to understand the target patterns, the technical capabilities, and the goal of an advisory. Right? This could be specific to a particular geography, to a particular industry vertical. We'll see samples of each of these in the coming slides. Operational Operational threat intelligence provides specific threat intelligence against an organization. It is collected from social media platforms, chat rooms, darknet. We'll see a small snippet from a darknet chat room that gives us specific operational threat intelligence that helps us preempt and protect against a threat. Right. Coming to the last type of threat intelligence is technical TI. This is what majority of the SOCs do even today, collect IOC information, C2 information, malicious domains, and correlate all of that with the SIEM. This improves detection rates on devices like IPS, web gateway, endpoint protection solutions, etc. Right now, these are a few samples of strategic TI. So, for example, you can see all subdomains that you have, all domains that you have. What are the exposed applications and services? So this gives the CISOs a holistic view of their organization and can go as an input to your VAPT, to your risk assessment, to your SIM integrations, to every aspect of cybersecurity. Right? If you look at tactical TI, now, for example, if you want to see uh, which APT group has targeted Indian manufacturing companies, right? You search open source TIs or commercial TIs, you'll come across APT 37. Now we'll see the MITRE attack groups in detail and see what kind of information you can get from there. You can see that this particular this particular espionage group has been active since 2012, and they've been targeting Indian companies since last year. So you can also fetch the techniques that were used by the APT group, the IOCs that you can use for hunting. So these can be used by incident responders and hunt teams, both of them. So this is an operational TI. This is from a chat. This is an old chat screenshot from the darknet. Here the attackers had published the target list for a DDoS attack, right? So if this kind of operational TI helps customers preempt attacks and protect against them, so they know that they're going to be a target, and it is more specific to a particular organization. These are technical TIs that we spoke about: DNS request, malicious domains, IP addresses, what kind of processes are associated with it, what kind of hash values are associated with that particular process. This is where technical TI comes into picture. Now we'll actually see a scenario where threat intelligence helped the SOC and the incident responders to respond to an attack in a faster way, right? The scenario is that a suspicious email came to from a trusted sender to let's say my mailbox, right? I raised a question about the authenticity of the email, and I called up the sender and asked him whether he has actually sent me that email. We found out that no, he has not sent that email, and that same email has gone to multiple people in his address book, right? The incident response team discovered that the sender employee's machine was infected and was sending out emails. A unique hash function was identified, and it was matched with the threat intelligence platform. A match was quickly found, and the behavior, the pattern of the malware was identified. It was identified that the malware, after installing itself, spread to other machines by sending emails to everybody in the address book, right? The threat intelligence platform also showed that the malware had remote control and key logging functionality. So the incident responders knew what to look for, right? So they could quickly run queries, look at registry entries, look at outbound network access, and confirm the diagnosis and remove the malware. So using the behavior that was already available on a threat intelligence platform, other machines that were infected in the network were identified, and the incident responders could easily and quickly respond to all the machines that were infected in the network, right? And because of a threat intelligence platform, they were able to deliver fast and immediate response as the behavior was already known. This is how a TI was used by an incident response. This is a sample. Now we'll see a sample of how TI and SOAR was integrated. Let's say there's a compromised machine in the network, right? And then it's making an external bot connection using a Tor exit node. Using a TI lookup, which looks up multiple feeds, multiple sources, all of that is part of the lookup, right? We establish that it is a botnet without any human intervention. Immediately, an alert is raised by the SIM and is given to a case management source solution where the SOC playbook is invoked and the ITSM ticket is raised. A API call to an EPP ETR solution is made to quarantine that machine, to quarantine the infected machine, and then based on that, the evidences are collected. So the whole process can be automated because the TI because of the feed that comes from the TI or the lookup that the TI gives. The confidence of that particular TI is high, because of which the whole action is taken. Right. So this is how integration of a threat intelligence platform and a SIM, a SOAR, a case management, EPP, EDR, all of that is integrated. Now, everyone may not want to invest in expensive threat intelligence platforms, right? Does not mean that you cannot start a TI program. There are a host of open source tools that can be leveraged to set up a complete threat intelligence program that can augment your SOC and your incident response process. If you see on your screen, there are a host of open source TI tools that are available, right from basic stuff like DNS lookups, port scanners, GHDBs, IP voids, and all of that, to the more advanced ones like Anomaly Stacks, MISP, Threat Connect, look at Spiderfoot, SecRepo, all of these things, right? We'll look at a few of these in the next slides as a demo. But all of these open source tools are available for any organization to begin a threat intelligence program. In India, people are still accepting the SOC. There are very few organizations who are mature to have an incident response team, which is which is isolated from the SOC, which complements the SOC, and people are slowly moving towards the EDR approach. So they may not want to invest into a very expensive threat intelligence platform on day one. They can still start with an open source TIP, set up a threat intelligence program, and then take it forward from there if they see actual value. Right. So we'll see a small demo now. This is part of the this is part of the strategic TI that we had seen. So, for example, this is an internet search engine. So called Shodan, right? So, for example, there was a ProFTP vulnerability that was published a couple of weeks back. So I want to see what are the ProFTP servers that are open in India. You get all of these servers ProFTP open in India, right? You can filter based on cities, based on services, right? You can look up based on the versions of ProFTP. You can also explore on other stuff, like if there is anonymous login enabled, if there's a default username password that's enabled. So all of this is available out of I mean is just lying there, right? You don't need specialized skills to look for stuff. Just look at your screens. I mean, there are open webcams available. There are default passwords that are available, right? So if you look at, let's say, default password routers in India, right, you'll see a lot of Wi-Fi routers lying open. These are broadband routers that are lying open with default credentials. If you go to port 8081, these are Netgear default routers that are lying open, right? So all of this is just lying there for people to find, right? Which is what is very concerning and very dangerous as well at the same time. So we'll also have a look at a couple of other open source TIP demos. Just give me one moment. I'll just share my browser. All right. So if you look at this, this is called Anomaly Stacks. This is a combination of Stix and Taxi protocol both. So you can use this to integrate with any SIEM that accepts Stix and Taxi. So if we log into this, so this will give you all kinds of indicators. It will give you severity of all kinds of indicators of compromise. You can go to the settings page and you can integrate multiple feeds. Here I have integrated two feeds. One is Anomaly and other is Hail Attack. So you can integrate feeds like Expose Exchange. You can create multiple usernames. You can do all of that. Now, if let's say you have an observable, right? I'll go to the activity, and I have listed a malicious domain that we look for here. Okay, this is a known malicious domain, which was part of the presentation that I showed you for technical TI, right? But it is not part of my TIP, right? So what we'll do is there is an option where you can import an observable, right? And you can also feed. So this is a two-way thing, right? You are not only taking feeds, you are also giving input. I know that this is a C2. I know with confidence that this is a high severity threat, right? And I can submit it. Okay, I am the admin, so I will also approve it. So now if I go to the activity, I can see that this is listed as an indicator, right? So when, and now anybody else who's accessing this observable, accessing this particular domain, if you have an SIM, if you have a web gateway that integrates with this particular instance of Stack, you will immediately know that there are malicious, there are domains in your, that there are machines in your network that are accessing malicious domains, right? So you can also input observables. It's not a one-way thing. You can also input observables. Now coming to the strategic TI, this is a very interesting and an open source tool called Spiderfoot. If you go to the modules, you can look at the modules, right? So yeah, look at the modules. You have all kinds of modules. You have modules from Alien Vault, OTX. You have bad IPs, Binary Edge, Census, Shodan, DuckDuckGo, GHDB. All of these modules are available, and you can also configure all of these modules from a key. You can have API key managers for all each of these. I have a few API keys for myself, which I have added here: Honeypot, OTX. All of these API keys you can add here, and you can just run a scan. Right? You go to the scan, create a new scan, search whatever abc.com. You can put domains, IP addresses, subnet masks, all of this, and the system will go and look up in each of these modules, each of these websites, and come back with information for you. So this will do DNS lookups, IP address lookups, AS lookups, all kinds of stuff. So this will give you amazing information about your strategic TI, about your organization's exposure, internet exposure. SecRepo is another one that I wanted to showcase. This is very useful for SOC analysts. This has all kinds of data that is available. So this has bro logs. This has snort PCAPs that can be used. So all of this is available for SOC analyst to download, to study a behavior of a malware, how the malware would behave. This is very useful for threat hunters, incident responders to understand how, because I mean, there are millions of malware that are going around in the world, right? You wouldn't know each behavior for each of them, which is why a TIP and open source systems like these help. Now we wanted to look at a Mitre attack group, right? So let's go to the home page. Mitre attack group is sorry for that. Yeah. So Mitre attack group is basically an open source APT information website that's available for anybody. Now let us say I want to see APT groups that were targeting Indian manufacturing customers or any customer, like, right? See, APT 37 comes up. Now we know that it is a suspected North Korean cyber espionage group which is connected to the Lazarus group, and it also has associated groups called Reaper, Group 123. It has had known associations with all of these groups. All the techniques that are used: bypass user account control, code signing, command line interface, credential dumping, all the techniques that are used, how these techniques map to the MITRE attack framework, what are the references, the FireEye APT reference, or if there's a rockrat that is being installed, all of that can be searched over here. And there are hundreds of such group information that is available as an open source thing. Any threat hunter that wants to hunt. So, for example, if I want to run a threat hunting exercise on a financial organization, I just go here, look for all APT groups that have been attacking financial organizations in the last one year, or let's say last 1 month, and pick up IOCs, pick up known exploits, and then and look for corresponding things on my hunt exercise. Right. One special thing that I wanted to show was osintframework.com. Very useful website. Very simple and plain. Looks like a mind map. You can just see what it does. So, for example, I want to see my dark web domains, right? You just click on that. It'll give you general info, dark web domains, Reddit dark web, right? It'll give you all kinds of website, Tor searches, Tor directories, right? You want to see what kind of threat intelligence it can give you. It can give you phishing threat intel, IOC tools, TTPs, IBM X-Force. All of these are sites that are available. And so this is basically like an index for your TI. You want to do TI on dark web, you don't know where to look for, this is your place. You want to check IP address information, you don't know where to look for, this is your information. The geolocation of IP addresses, IPv4 information, BGP information, reputation information. You don't know where to look for, this is your index. A lovely site. Most of these sites definitely work. A few of them have become obsolete now, but most of the sites that are listed here definitely work. Right now, if we come back to the presentation, just some food for thought before we wind up. If whenever you're considering to set up a TI program, stuff that you should consider is define TI for your organization. Right, a TI for a financial organization will definitely be different from a TI for a manufacturing unit. Define how you're going to source your TI. What are the sources? Are you going to look at only open source for now? Will you invest in one commercial TI and depend on open source for the rest? All of that. Define how you're going to source your TI and make TI actionable. Right? You may read about 100 APT attacks, but if it is not actionable for your SOC, it's of no use. So make TI actionable for your SOC. This is just a few suggestions where if you're looking to set up a TI program. That will be all from my end. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for